Did you ever wonder what would happen if every demon moon became a Hashira? How strong would Akaza be as a Hashira? What breathing style would he develop? Not to mention Kokushibo or even Rui. Well, before we get to the good part, here's one small note. We'll be excluding Kamanue, Mukago, Wakuraba, and Rokuro because Muzan executed them before they ever got to learn their true abilities. So for starters, we have Kyogai. Kyogai, the drum demon, was once lower rank 6 of the 12 Kizuki, before Muzan excommunicated him for reaching his growth limit. His blood demon art was tied directly to the drums embedded in his body, allowing him to manipulate his mansion at will. By striking the drums on his shoulders and legs, he could rotate rooms in any direction. The drum on his navel unleashed powerful 3-claw strikes, while the one on his back allowed him to teleport within the mansion. Though formidable inside his domain, this ability was also his biggest weakness, since its effects were limited strictly to his own home. Now, if Kyogai were to become a Hashira, a fitting style for him would be Breath of Rhythm or Breath of the War Drum, a unique derivation of sound breathing. This style would focus on unpredictable, percussive strikes and disorientating movements, mirroring how he controlled his mansion. His forms could involve rapid, rhythmic slashes and even ground-shaking blows designed to disrupt an opponent's balance. As for his weapon, instead of a traditional Nichiren sword, Kyogai would likely wield a pair of specialized Nichiren Tonfa, allowing him to strike with percussive force and precision. Next up, Rui. As lower rank 5 of the 12 Kizuki, Rui was a demon whose power far exceeded his numerical position. It was even said that his true strength was comparable to lower rank 1 or 2. His blood demon art allowed him to create incredibly durable, razor-sharp threads made from his own cells. These threads were strong enough to break a Nichiren blade, bind and shred opponents, and even form defensive cages. Now, if Rui were to become a Hashira, the ideal style for him would be spider breathing, a derivation of insect breathing. This style would focus on high-speed thrusts and shallow cuts to inject poison rather than relying on pure decapitation force. And if he mastered this style perfectly, he would likely be one of the fastest and most agile Hashira, specializing in trapping demons and overwhelming them with a relentless barrage of venomous attacks. As for his weapon, Rui wouldn't rely on a traditional sword. Instead, his signature weapon would be ultra-durable thin threads, allowing him to decapitate demons by injecting wisteria-based poison, similar to Shinobu's method, but executing through his unique thread manipulation. Now we have Enmu. As lower rank 1, Enmu was the strongest of the lower moons, a position he retained because of his sadistic nature and unwavering loyalty to Muzan, which earned him a substantial boost of Muzan's blood. His primary ability was a sophisticated blood demon art centered on dream manipulation. He could force anyone into a deep sleep and then enter and control their dreams, breaking their spirit by showing them their worst nightmares. So if he were to become a Hashira, he would likely develop dream breathing. This would function similarly to Genjutsu in Naruto, allowing him to trap demons in a hypnosis-like state and potentially manipulate them however he wants. His power would be primarily psychological, inducing illusions, setting sleep-based traps, and decapitating demons in a single strike before they even realized they were dreaming or under his hypnosis, meaning he could defeat demons with minimal physical exertion. Now it's time we move on to the upper moons, and first up we have Daki. As upper rank 6 of the 12 Kizuki, a title shared with her brother Gyutaro, Daki was a demon of immense power, backed by centuries of combat experience. Her primary ability was her blood demon art, which allowed her to generate sentient razor-sharp obi sashes from her own flesh. These sashes had the flexibility of silk, but the cutting power of high-quality blades, capable of slicing through buildings and overwhelming opponents with attacks from every direction. She used them for offense, defense, trapping foes, and even storing her human victims. Now, if she were to become a Hashira, she would definitely develop ribbon breathing, derived from love breathing. This style would revolve around using a whip-like sword similar to Mitsuri's, but far more flexible. Her attacks would blend acrobatics, mid-air spins, and wide-range slashes, making her a master of zone control, mid-range combat, and multi-target offense. Not only that, she would excel in crowded environments or enclosed spaces, where her curved, flowing attacks could bounce off surfaces and hit blind spots, meaning she would be capable of overwhelming demons with layered, synchronized strikes that cut off nearly every possible escape route for them. We talked about Daki, but what about about her brother Gyutaro next. As the true holder of the upper rank 6 position, Gyutaro was an exceptionally powerful demon whose strength, speed, and combat skills far surpassed that of his sister Daki. His strength was such that he killed at least 15 Hashira over the course of his long life as a demon. Gyutaro's primary weapon was his own flesh and blood, which he manipulated to create a pair of razor-sharp sickles. The most dangerous aspect of his power was an extremely potent and fast-acting poison that coated his flesh-made sickles and blood blades. A single scratch was enough to be potentially fatal, and even Tengen, who had high natural resistance to poison due to his shinobi training, was severely affected and nearly died. That means if he were to become a Hashira, he would most likely develop blood breathing. This style would allow him to weaponize his own blood in deadly and strategic ways. His blood would contain a powerful natural poison specifically lethal to demons, produced within his body and released through cuts or sword slashes. Just one strike from his blood-coated blade would be far more potent than the poison Shinobu uses. Not only that, he would also be incredibly fast. Remember, even as a demon, he was quick enough to match and even surpass Tengen's speed multiple times during their battle. And since Gyutaro and Daki were siblings, the two of them would still have incredible synergy and coordination in battle as Hashira. Now, before we move ahead, like and hype this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep going. Now we have Nakime. Initially serving as the Biwa player of the Infinity Castle, Nakime was later promoted to upper rank 4 after Hantengu's death. Her primary ability was her incredibly potent and versatile blood demon art, which granted her complete control over the extra-dimensional fortress. By strumming her biwa, she could reshape the castle at will, shifting rooms, creating new structures, and altering the spatial orientation of anyone inside it. This made her the ultimate support-type demon, capable of trapping, disorienting, and separating intruders with effortless precision, as we all saw in the Infinity Castle arc. That means if she became a Hashira, she would likely develop spatial breathing. This would allow her to teleport herself or other demon slayers from point A to point B in mere seconds, making it one of the best support abilities for battlefield repositioning. Another aspect of her style would focus on footwork that disorients perception, making her seem like she's in multiple places at once, turning her into an untouchable ghost-like figure. However, just like in her demon form, her abilities would still lean more towards support than raw offense. Next up, Kaigaku, a former demon slayer and senior disciple of the Thunder Hashira, Jigoro Kuwajima. Kaigaku's ambition and deep-rooted inferiority complex led him to surrender to Kokushibo and become upper rank 6, replacing Daki and Gyutaro. Now, we don't need to explain much about his demon form, because if he were to become a Hashira, it's obvious he would use thunder breathing, and becoming a Hashira means he would have fully mastered the first form, Thunderclap and Flash, the same technique only Zenitsu perfected in the original series. However, I'll still assume he does not have the 7th form, since that was Zenitsu's personally created technique. Aside from that, Kaigaku would have perfected almost every thunder-breathing form to reach Hashira level. His refined thunder-breathing form would let him chain multiple forms together seamlessly, creating a non-stop storm of attacks with almost no openings. That means this time he would actually be far stronger as a Hashira than he ever was as an upper moon in the original story. Next up, Gyokko. As upper rank 5, Gyokko's primary ability stemmed from a set of ornate pots, which he could freely generate and use as a base for his techniques. He could teleport instantaneously between these pots, making his movements completely unpredictable and allowing for rapid escapes or surprise attacks. His blood demon art, though, manifested in several ways, all centered around aquatic themes. And because his abilities revolve around water, as a Hashira, he would likely use water breathing, just like Gyu, though his interpretation of the style would be vastly different. While Gyu's water breathing represents calm, fluid strength, Gyokko's version would be unpredictable, artistic, and cruelly precise. He wouldn't view the 10 fundamental forms as a fixed system, but rather as a creative palette to craft a masterpiece of his own. This also means he could create his own 11th form just like Gyu did. And if you ask me, his 11th form would probably immobilize and systematically break down a demon's defenses, mirroring his infamous water prison pot technique that trapped Muichiro in the original story. Now we have Hantengu. As upper rank 4, Hantengu was a deceptively powerful demon whose abilities revolved around a unique form of regeneration regeneration and self-manifestation. His true body was extremely small, timid, and embodied fear. He could split his emotions into separate powerful clones, each representing a different aspect of his personality, including anger, pleasure, sorrow, and joy. And if these four were pushed to the edge, they could merge to form Zohakten, the embodiment of hatred, an immensely powerful demon capable of wood manipulation and using all the abilities of the four clones combined. So if he were to become a Hashira, his breathing style would revolve around manipulating his own emotional states to produce different effects, a unique style known as emotion breathing. This would allow him to physically manifest different emotional attributes. For example, focusing on anger could give him a massive boost in strength and speed, while focusing on joy could grant incredible agility and evasiveness. He could even have a form of split personality, allowing his consciousness to divide within a single body, giving him multiple internal strategies at once and creating an unpredictable fighting pattern that makes him extremely hard to read. Overall, he'd be a tricky opponent to face, since no one would easily predict which emotion he would fight with next. Now it's time for Akaza. As upper rank 3, Akaza was a demon of immense power, whose entire being was dedicated to the pursuit of ultimate strength through martial arts. A master of the Soryu style he learned as a human, Akaza fought exclusively bare-fisted, refusing to use weapons. His blood demon art, Destructive Death, allowed him to generate powerful shockwaves with every strike. His most impressive technique was the Compass Needle, which created a snowflake-like pattern beneath his feet. This ability granted him a form of precognition by sensing an opponent's fighting spirit, giving him perfect awareness of their intentions, weaknesses, and incoming attacks. Now, if he were to become a Hashira, he would develop a unique breathing style, something like Breath of the Fist, or Soryu breathing, a direct adaptation of his barehanded martial arts. This style would use Akaza's body as the primary weapon, likely augmented with special Nichiren gauntlets and greaves instead of a traditional blade. The forms of Soryu breathing would be direct, brutal, and flawlessly precise, relying on swift, devastating strikes with both arms and legs. His greatest, most advanced technique would be a human version of his Compass Needle, which would be the pinnacle of his style, a state of absolute focus where he could perceive the flow of a demon's energy and intent, just as he did with fighting spirit. This would grant him perfect precognition, allowing him to evade any attack and counter with strikes aimed at a demon's weakest points with inhuman accuracy, making him the ultimate master of close quarters combat in the entire Demon Slayer Corps. Next up, Doma. As upper rank 2, Doma was a demon of terrifying power, surpassed only by Kokushibo and Muzan himself. His core ability was a deadly and refined form of cryokinesis, channeled through his blood demon art. Using a pair of sharp golden fans, he could generate and manipulate ice and frost with incredible speed and precision. His ice, when inhaled, could freeze and destroy a person's lungs from the inside out. He could also create a vast range of ice constructs, including colossal ice Botavistas, capable of unleashing large-scale, devastating attacks. On top of that, he could produce sentient ice clones nearly as strong as himself, each capable of using his full arsenal of abilities. Now, if he were to become a Hashira, he would most likely develop ice breathing, derived from water breathing. This style would allow him to drastically lower the surrounding temperature, generating deadly ice particles, frozen mist, and solid ice sculptures for both offense and defense. While his techniques would remain extremely potent, they would lack the massive area control and lung-freezing lethality his blood demon art once provided. Still, Doma would use rapid, graceful movements to unleash large-scale ice attacks, delivering strikes meant to freeze a demon's cells on impact, severely slowing their regeneration. And his cold, emotionless personality would help him stay calm, analyze his opponents, read their abilities, and counter with precision in any situation. And finally, it's time for Kokushibo. But if you still haven't subscribed to our channel yet, what are you waiting for? Come on, click it. As upper rank 1, Kokushibo was the most powerful of the 12 Kizuki, and the unquestioned second strongest demon in existence, surpassed only by Muzan Kibutsuji. His strength was amplified by a permanent Demon Slayer mark, which pushed his physical abilities to unimaginable levels. He also possessed mastery over the transparent world, allowing him to see the anatomical structure of his opponents, predict their movements with flawless accuracy, and target their exact weaknesses. His regeneration was second only to Muzan's. His skill was so overwhelming that he single-handedly fought and even overpowered multiple marked Hashira at once during the Infinity Castle arc, cementing his status as a cataclysmic force of of nature. Now, if he were to become a Hashira, his breathing style would obviously be his self-created style, moon breathing. Moon breathing is a unique and incredibly powerful style that branched from the original sun breathing, the very first breathing technique ever created. Kokushibo developed this style back when he was human, as Michikatsu Sugikuni. Unlike most breathing styles, which have linear or easily readable patterns, moon breathing produces chaotic crescent moon-shaped slashes and projectiles that appear unpredictably, making it extremely difficult for any demon to defend against. And honestly, as a Hashira, his moon breathing would be perfected as a pure human art, standing as a direct rival to sun breathing. Combined with his transparent world mastery and his Demon Slayer mark, Kokushibo would be virtually untouchable in a duel. If you ask me, among all the Hashiras I mentioned in this video, he would easily be the strongest member of the entire Demon Slayer corps, second only to his brother Yoriichi. But don't stop here. Click on this video next, where we turned every Hashira into an upper moon. Go on, check it out.